Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amity Gilmore and this is my life. If you're new here, be sure to click that subscribe button and also don't forget to ring the notification bell and stay updated from new videos coming from me twice a week. My sister, I'm sorry, she's on the bed looking at me like, what are you doing?
I love silently judging you.
I feel judged. So it is August, which is Gastroparesis Awareness Month. So for the length of August, all my videos are going to be, well, most of my videos are going to be gastroparesis themed. I think it'll be more of like those sit down and talk videos where I explain gastroparesis to you guys. Not that you guys need explanations considering the fact that most of the people on my channel have gastroparesis, but for the people who don't have gastroparesis, I'm going to be explaining a bit about it, and for the people who do have gastroparesis, I'll explain my story, as everyone's story is different. And be sure to share this content with your friends so that they know more about gastroparesis as well. Today we're going to be talking about my gastroparesis symptoms in order of their appearance. Let's get into this video.
Make things right. I hold you and wipe your tears.
Before we get into this video, I do want to start by saying everyone is different. Some people have certain symptoms that other people don't have. This is just my experience. And I also want to start off with a bit of an announcement. So for August, the Gastroparesis Awareness Month, I do want to do a Q&A that's solely based on questions to do with gastroparesis. So in the comments down below, if you have any questions about my experience with gastroparesis, or any questions about just gastroparesis in general, then please leave them down in the comments section below. I have done a Q&A before that was more of a broader Q&A about all the other stuff in my life, but this one will be solely focused on gastroparesis. So if you can leave those comments down below, that would be awesome, and we can do a Q&A. So excited. So let's start off with my first symptom. My first symptom is bloating, and I had bloating from the age of probably about, well, even as a baby, my mum said I was quite bloated. Especially I think age 10, I had a lot of bloating. I remember around that age of 10 and 11 and 12 feeling really insecure about, you know, my body, because I just felt like I was so bloated all the time. I remember in dance group when I was about, I think 11, and we had to try on this costume, and this costume showed our belly, and I was so embarrassed to take off my shirt and put this on because I thought people were going to think I was pregnant. That's literally what I thought, because younger kids would come up to me and say, hey, I think you're pregnant, or hey, are you pregnant? And I used
Kmart. Tell them about Kmart.
Kmart. Okay, I'll tell them about Kmart. We'll get to that. So I was like, I don't want to, like, I walked out of there having the dress rehearsal fittings, and I was just like, I can't wear this. I just felt so insecure, and I remember saying, I'm not pregnant, I'm not pregnant, I'm not pregnant. That was like the words coming out of my mouth, because I've been told so many times I look like I was pregnant at that age, and it was not fun. Another thing is Kmart. So I had really bad, like in the 11, 12, and then it's always been subtly there, but it's gotten worse over time, I think. And I remember I was in Kmart. This is when I first started getting sick, and I was working in Kmart, and it wasn't really when I like first was like sick, but it was after my first flare up, which kind of came out of nowhere, and then it kind of didn't escalate to anything else until about a couple months later. I remember I was working in Kmart, and someone came up to me and had basically said, which is really rude to say to anyone, and this was like a full-grown adult, so she was old enough to know different. She was like, oh, how many weeks along are you? Yeah, so either she doesn't have a filter on her mouth, or I was so bloated that she thought, there is no way that she isn't pregnant, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. And I'm worried that that was the case. But that was symptom number one. So the symptom that came along next was not being able to drink water, And by this I mean I was able to drink water, but I struggled so much. And my mom used to think that it wasn't real and I just didn't like water.
I'm allergic to water.
I used to say I was allergic to water, and I used to be like, I'm allergic to water, but obviously I wasn't allergic to water, I just couldn't drink it, and I was always like, oh, I can't drink it. And my mom was always like, just try and drink it. And I struggled to, and I remember this one particular time when I was at a camp, and the leaders had this game that they decided to play to sneakily try and get us to hydrate ourselves, which was a game, and I told my doctor about this actually, and he's like, oh, this is like a dangerous game, like they should not have been doing that. But basically, we were on a sailing camp, so obviously in the sun and burning a lot of energy and probably at high risk of dehydration. So what they wanted us to do was to play a game where there was a jar of water, like 2 jugs of water on the table, and we each had a cup. And it was table against table, and we had to just continually fill up our cups and just scull it until both of those jugs were empty. So I basically sculled the first drink, and then I went for the second drink, took a sip, vomited everything, all the water, everything I ate that day, it went everywhere, and they're like, okay, you can sit out for this one. I think I was probably about 14 when this happened, and I remember it clearly because I was like, man, I just vomited from drinking water. If that doesn't say I'm intolerant to water, I don't know what does. And I remember coming home to mum like, I'm telling you, this is a thing, I can't drink water. She's like, no, you can drink water. But anyway, that was my first symptom, and obviously one that makes total sense now. That was not my first symptom. Did I say first symptom? I mean second symptom. Third symptom was pain. Now this was the symptom that really started to get me thinking, oh, okay, something's not right here. It was kind of my first, I guess you could say, gastroparesis flare up, and it was pain. Basically what happened, I was down on a camp, and I was down near Sydney. We had a blast of a time, and one night I remember I was just crippled in so much pain after, and I was literally just, I did nothing but just started walking back to my room to sleep for the night, and I couldn't move. I was in so much pain. I ended up going to hospital. The pain was like stabbing feeling, like I felt like someone was inside of me stabbing my like intestines pretty much, and it didn't feel like the stomach, it felt more like the intestines. And I do have slow motility throughout my entire body, so it's not just my stomach, it's also my intestines, so that makes sense as well. But basically I remember being in so much pain, I was doubled over, it was really bad. And then that night, had that pain, and then boom, it went away, which was so weird. And I didn't get that pain again until around about leading up to Christmas. It started escalating a bit, and I was like, okay, this is weird, this pain's back. And it just got worse and worse. And pain was actually my main symptom at the time that I was trying to figure out what was going on. And what we found, I remember, was it was pain after I ate. And someone who pointed this out was actually a nurse when we were at hospital. I had dinner, and you know, I had no dietary requirements for dinner because like I was new to this. I didn't know that I couldn't eat this or couldn't eat that because I didn't know I had gastroparesis. I didn't know what I had. So I was just eating normal dinners that they'd give you at the hospital, and I wasn't able to finish them, but I was able to eat some of it. And I remember I would get this pain afterwards, and then the nurse caught on because he's much more clever than I am, because I did not catch this on. And when he said it, I was like, oh, that makes sense. He's like, so it seems to happen after you eat. I was like, yeah, it does. That's so weird. So that's basically something that made us go, oh, that makes sense. Alright. The next symptom was early satiety. So I started getting early satiety, meaning I started feeling fuller very quickly. I would eat probably 3-4 mouthfuls and I couldn't finish the rest without feeling like I was going to throw up. And this is something that I remember was so weird. The first time I noticed the early satiety, or that I remember of, was when I was living out of home at the time, and I came to visit mum here, and I had dinner, and I was walking out to the car to get in my car to drive home, and I remember feeling so sick that I had to lay on the ground. I felt like right out near my car. I felt like I was gonna faint. I felt like I was gonna vomit. It was awful. And I just held onto a bucket out there feeling like I was just gonna vomit. I don't remember if I did end up vomiting, but I remember Benji, our dog, because no one was watching it, went down the road, and when we realised he was gone, he'd come back and he had poo on his mouth because he loves eating poo.
I'm half listening, and that's like the only thing I hear is Benji eating poo.
But yeah, early satiety, it was really weird, and I started to then skip meals because a meal would come and I'm like, I don't feel like I could eat this, or I'd take one bite and it's like I can't finish it. So the next was nausea. Nausea was really bad, and it still is really bad, but it's less bad now with the tablets that I am on, which we're having a bit of issues with my tablets. We've got to sort that out, but tablets that I'm on currently have really been a game changer in terms of nausea and vomiting. It's been really helpful for me. It's helped me basically get on my feet. But before I got on these tablets, the nausea was so rampant, I couldn't even think about eating. If I thought about eating, I would literally throw up sometimes just from the thought or smell of food, which is pretty dramatic. I know it sounds dramatic, but it's literally what happened, and it was not fun by any means. I don't know there's much I can say about nausea because I think it's very straightforward what nausea is like. It's disgusting, it's not a nice feeling, and I think, like, for me, it's like that feeling just before you're about to throw up, but it's constant. It's not as constant now on the tablets, but if I forget those tablets, which I have like twice, like for a whole day, I forgot it twice, and it's terrible. Like, it's a massive mess. It's not fun. The next symptom that came up was vomiting. So at first, I was vomiting a little bit, but the vomiting really started to ramp up, I think, just before my diagnosis. And I was vomiting pretty much every day. It was not good, it was disgusting, and it just happened, and I just vomit and vomit, and I feel like anything could make me vomit. Literally anything. The smell of chicken was a big culprit as well. That would make me vomit. It was just really bad. And this was mainly happening at the time I was down with my friend in Sydney, and things were getting really bad, and I just vomit every single day. But again, I went on the tablets, and then I didn't really throw up after that for a while, and I wasn't actually throwing up. I was more having another symptom, which I'll talk about after this, but I basically had gone from throwing up every day to hardly ever throwing up. But it was still hard because sometimes I wanted to throw up because I felt that bad that I just wanted to throw up. But I think the tablets really helped with throwing up becoming less like of a thing, so I didn't need to throw up that often. So the next symptom that happened, which was what I was briefly mentioned before, which is dry reaching. As soon as I got on the tablets, I wasn't throwing up, but I was dry reaching, and sometimes acid would come up from the dry reaching, but it wasn't like vomit or anything. So I would just reach and reach and reach, and it was just this uncomfortable feeling of dry reaching, and it was not fun. And it was kind of this feeling like I just want to vomit. Like I don't want it to be dry rage anymore. I just want to vomit so I can just get it up and out of my system and hopefully feel a little bit better. The next symptom is more of one that's kind of an outcome. I don't know whether you call it a symptom or an outcome of symptoms, like an outcome of the condition itself, but that's fatigue. And that's from not being able to eat enough and have enough energy, and also being iron deficient, because I can't get iron in a lot of foods because meat sets me off like crazy, nuts set me off like crazy. Basically everything that most of the things that I eat these days, or drink rather, because I'm on a liquid diet, are the Fortisip drinks, and I think I'm pretty sure they've got a little bit of iron in them, but mainly it's got like vitamin, minerals, protein, and all that in like a medical supplement. So that's what I have. But that being said, I have real bad fatigue, and I think the fatigue gets to me the worst sometimes because I grew up being a very active person, and having those days where I just feel so motivated to do things but I don't have the energy to do it, they are the worst, because I'm literally like feeling I can hop out of bed and do these things. Like mentally I can hop out of bed and do these things, but physically I can't, and that is torturous. So the last symptom is also like the fatigue, more of a outcome of the condition itself rather than a symptom, but that is dehydration. I pretty much have chronic dehydration, which is why I have to go in to the doctors every fortnight. We're doing it every month at the moment. Because it's hard to get into the doctors. That's just a whole other story for another time. Our local area doesn't have enough doctors to look after the amount of people who live in the area. But anyway, I'm going to get IV fluids. So intravenously I get fluids, and that is how I manage my dehydration. And also other ways is like sucking on ice. I find cold water to be so much better to tolerate than like room temperature, or warm water is like so disgusting. I don't know if you're feeling me, but warm water I just can't. Warm or hot water, I just can't do it. Like I cannot do it.
What about tea?
I can't do tea.
Why not?
Because tea makes me sick.
Why?
I don't know, it just does. I don't know, tea makes me sick.
Well, that's too bad.
Says my sister as she just sips on a tea and looks at me. Anyway, those were my symptoms, and that was my video for today. I hope you guys liked it. Stay tuned to watch more Gastroparesis awareness videos coming out this month, as it is Gastroparesis Awareness Month, August. And also, don't forget to leave your comments down below asking your questions about gastroparesis or anything, all things gastroparesis, so that we can do the Q&A. And love you guys. Thank you so much for the support you guys have shown. It really means a lot that I'm able to have this community, and it's just great. So love you guys. Bye.
And stay tuned.
Wait, what? Wait.
Stay tuned for the sister reveal that nobody asked for. Yay!
Stay tuned for the sister reveal that nobody asked for.
No matter how our lives will be, I'll tell you, I won't tell you to leave. Yeah, I'll keep on standing.